All right, we are live. I have Jordan Bright on with me. Go ahead and say hi.
Hey everyone, so glad you're here.
I'm really excited to have him on. He's been here at the Centr company that I own for almost a year. You said your year anniversary is about to come up?
Yeah, it's in about 10 days, so super exciting.
Awesome. So let's see. It's 2 o'clock now, so it looks like we're on time. Before I jump on with Jordan and kind of go into our topic, the topic today, we're going to talk about how to truly support your teams during these tough times. I know you really, as leaders, you have to, and managers, and you have to really keep a perspective on things. And so first, I just wanted to mention, I know a lot of you that are business owners are aware of the news. There's a paycheck protection program stimulus that's out there, and the SBA has run out of funds for that. And I know a lot of, I think 1.6 million businesses got access to those funds, but there's 30 million small businesses in the country that I'm sure a lot more need access to that. So, and the government's not doing a very good job of streamlining new funding to come in, and so it's unsure on when and if those funds will come in. So often it's too late, right? It's a day late and a dollar short kind of thing. And so I just, as we talk today about how to support your teams, I just wanted to, as just knowing what it feels like to be, at at the helm, and having those pressures, and not knowing how to navigate. You might have thought that those funds were the only way to get out of your situation, and so you're probably in a spot where you're thinking, what next? I don't know how to get out of this. And I really believe that during these times, it really separates those that are willing to dig deep and be resourceful, and always looking for opportunities, and always listening to their inner voice to be like, okay, what is it that the next thing that I need to do? And so as we go through some of the stuff about teams, I think it's really important as leaders. I just wanted to bring that up to just think about how you can really shine as a leader during this time, because I really believe that it's during these tough times that really separate great leaders from those that are, think leadership's not that bad because they've only been a leader in easy times. And so with that being said, Jordan, do you have any thoughts on what I just said?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think, it's during these times when we really have a chance to set a culture in our companies. I think culture, I think it's important all the time, but I think it's in these times when it really shows. It shows, how you've set your culture, and what all the groundwork you've laid, what is the result. And so I think now is when we can really take advantage of that.
Oh, that's great. Just like I believe a lot of us as families are unifying more than ever before. We're spending more time with our kids. Our kids are having more time to spend together. If we have kids, or more time with our spouse, things like that. I believe that also this is a time when you can shine as a company. And I think we've seen that at the Centr. Would you agree, Jordan, with that?
Oh, definitely. I think, within our company, throughout this, challenging time, obviously it's been, about a month since all this kind of started. I think we have all seen how we can come together and support each other. One of my favorite things is we use Slack. We're virtual, and we use Slack to communicate across our teams. And, we created a channel that is talking about thriving from a distance. We're there to support each other throughout this social distancing, throughout these challenges, for everyone. And so I love seeing our team really bond, through the trials. I think trials can really make that connection even stronger. They're never easy, but I do think that good things can come out of hard times.
Yeah, I completely agree. So let me go ahead and introduce Jordan. We haven't had a chance to do that yet. So like I said, Jordan's been with us for a year. He is the coordinator for our service and support team. And in a year, Jordan, why don't you give them the timeline of kind of how things happened? And then I'll go into some of the qualities that allowed you to kind of keep moving and growing within the company.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started with the Centr back in April of 2019, and I started as a virtual assistant on our service and support team. So I got to be, the support for clients, got to answer phones and do those administrative tasks. That way those business owners could focus on the higher level vision. And then about 6 months in, I had the amazing opportunity to move over to our marketing team and serve as our marketing coordinator for about 4 months. And that was an amazing opportunity where I really got to support the marketing team and help coordinate those projects across channels, across team members. And then I also had the chance to work in our sales team, which was a great opportunity to really get to see another side of the company, a side that I'd never seen before. And then when we kind of revamped our sales process, that's when I had the opportunity to move into the role that I'm in now in service and support.
Yeah, I actually forgot you went into sales too. So you've been in 3 different departments in a short time, and what's cool about another reason why I love virtual is because you can be much more agile and move people around where they need to go, and I love that he's actually experienced those different teams because it allows him to do such a good job in the service and support side. And I remember when Jordan first came on, and he started, doing answering phones and sending emails, and he was always like, what can I do? And jumping in and not afraid to take on tasks. And we love that. We love it when people take initiative and just keep wanting to serve. It really comes from that servant heart, I believe, because you really have that. So.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I do. I think that's kind of even, talking about this topic, I think that's where a lot of it comes from is serving each other. I think that we can all have that mindset. And when you have that mindset of service, in all directions towards everyone, I think that's where that team connection really comes into play.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so let's dig into some topics. So our main topic today is how to support your team during these trying times. So what do you think is one way that you can support your team that you work with, Jordan?
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing that I have seen, especially, over the past month, but really not even just in this tough time, in any tough time, is really to keep those lines of communication open. You want to make sure that everyone knows that you're there, that you are available. For me as a coordinator, like my role is to kind of coordinate those tasks, coordinate those projects, and help support the team in any way that I can. So I want to make sure that they know that my Slack is, always available to them, that we can always jump on a meeting if they have questions, if they have concerns, whether that relates to a project or whether that's something, that's personal. Maybe they need to update us on something. I think knowing that we have that open door is so important, and it creates that culture of trust. And that's how you can continue to be productive even through, these trials.
Yeah, I agree. Allowing that open door, being able to have access. And then I believe as whether you're a coordinator, a manager, a strategist is another position we have, or leadership, I think it's important to always control fear. It doesn't mean that we don't want to be transparent with our team. We want that, but you can do it in a way where you're not putting your problems onto other people, where everybody's still holding their weight. I just read something, there's difference between helping each other with their burdens than carrying their pack for them, right? Mm-hmm. And I think it's important as leadership to know the difference, still hold your weight, but still rely on the team to help with burdens and vice versa. So the more we're all helping each other, it creates this, I believe, beautiful synergy that takes place. So
yeah, that's awesome. That's something that I had read too. I was reading just about, anyone in any kind of leadership role, whether that's, a true supervisor or not, like really leading on your team and not being afraid to ask for help, to ask for support, not taking on all those burdens yourself. Like, we're all in this together. It's not the leader's role to take on all the problems either. And so I think it's finding that balance. It's finding that balance of support while still, acknowledging and assisting when you can with those problems.
Yep, I agree. All right. So let's see. Another thing we had mentioned was you had talked about grace and how important. Just talk about grace in general. I know if anybody that's listening has heard me talk in some of the lives, that I mentioned grace a lot too. And whether you're religious or not, or I think grace is such a big component of leadership and business. And so, what does grace mean to you in this scenario?
Yeah, no, that's a great one. I do. I think it really applies to all areas of our life, regardless of, maybe what specifically grace might mean to you. I know that for me, it's a very personal part of my story. And so I always try to lead with grace as much as possible. And, when I say that, it's first acknowledging that these times are hard on everyone. We're all human. We're all going to have those moments when we don't always get it right. And so I think it's being open to that. It's letting your team know that this isn't necessarily a reflection on them. We can't take everything at face value, especially during these tough times. I think that we all need to have that breathing room of grace. I almost like to call it, it's like that space between, oh, something is wrong, and oh, what's really going on, digging deep into the root of the issue or the problem versus just jumping to that conclusion. And I think that's really where grace comes into play in any kind of leadership role.
Yeah, nope, I love that. It's great. One of the things we do once a month is have a moments with Mia where all the team jumps on a Zoom call. And then we've started kind of as a tradition doing some breakout sessions. And I really enjoyed it because when I don't have to talk for an hour straight, and I can have more interaction with the team. And it also creates a very kind of loose environment for people that it's not really work structured in a way. It's a lot of times either after hours or at a lunch break type thing. And so it allows people to kind of be vulnerable and open. And we had one just right after this that we were kind of homebound. And it was just amazing to see the vulnerability and we even had some people that cried because like they had a loved one die that they were close to, and they weren't able to actually go to the funeral home like they normally could to do certain things. And so it just things like that have shooken up the world in so many different ways. And I think it's, again, just reiterating, it's a time when we can really figure out if we're willing to dig deep, and it really separates those as leaders that can lead during this time. And it also separates those as employees that can hold their weight during this time as well. And so I think it's definitely a refining period, and it exposes people. And it maybe if you feel like you maybe are somebody that hasn't reacted in the right way, it's a great time. I mean, I think all of us will do things that maybe aren't always right during this time because it's just a heightened sense of just trauma or just insecurity that's going on. But regardless, if there's maybe a decision you made or reacted in the wrong way, I just encourage us all, like, let's right the wrong and also and learn from this. I think this exposes us in different ways, and it gives us all time to reflect and learn from what we can do better.
Yeah, I love that. I totally think this is definitely a time of self-discovery. I think you can learn a lot about yourself in periods of stress and in periods of struggle. And so I think, we're all growing together, and that's probably what I kind of lean on, especially as, I'm walking with a team through this. It's that we're all growing together, and, we're there. It goes both ways. I think grace, it goes both ways.
Yep, no, I agree. So I think one of the things I think as leaders we can do is plugging holes that maybe pop up that might be exposed. I'm not so in the trenches anymore, so I'm gonna say this loosely, not knowing. But is there something during the last month and a half that maybe you've experienced that you realize that if you can help solve that problem, that'll help everybody in the mix? Can you think of a situation or?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, throughout all this time, like one of the biggest things that we found is just being flexible with people. We're working virtually, which we've always done, but now, you might have kids at home, you might have your spouse is also working from home. And so, for me and my team, I know that we've worked really hard to still, fulfill our responsibilities, but also be flexible with that. And I know that for me, sometimes it might mean jumping on the phones and taking some calls to make sure that we have coverage, or it might mean jumping in to work on some cases and maybe, helping someone, sharing that responsibility. And I think that is so important, as leaders and employees. I think that we can all help each other. I don't think it's one-sided. I think it's the same way, from employee to leader and leader to employee. Like we can be open to supporting each other and plugging those holes. And then it kind of, there's no difference. We don't feel a difference per se in our team, and we can keep things running smoothly.
Yeah, I love that. I still remember, man, it's probably been maybe a year and a half ago. We had a client that scaled so fast, and we couldn't even hire fast enough to cover it. And so there was a time when you just figure out how to get it done, and you don't want the client to feel it or the customers to feel it. And so I even remember jumping on calls and answering them. And it was really cool to get back to kind of the roots. I remember my early days when I first started this company, around, it was probably, well, this is a few years later after I started. So it was maybe around 2010 or so. And I still remember transferring calls to my cell phone and answering for businesses from my cell phone, and I have the kids in the back seat of the car. And like, I didn't think I was doing a good job. And then clients were like, no, you're doing amazing. And so it was just, sometimes it's just that hard work and that willingness to dig deep, and that really just sets, I think makes a difference and really sets our company apart. So
yeah, totally agree.
Awesome. So one of the things that we've been thinking a lot about recently as leadership for us is like during these times, making sure that we stay true to where we're going in our mission, and making sure that people as a company can see a way out or a future. And then also that we as individuals know kind of a pathway or a track that we can go on. And it's something that we know we can be a lot better with it within the company. And so I think even during these times, it's difficult now, but people are usually willing to dig a little deeper if they see that there's a pathway out or see that there's a plan. And so that's something that we've been talking a lot about for us as leaders. And in service and support, have you, Jordan, have you guys been thinking about that in any way, or what do you feel like has changed? I know we are lucky in a way that we have clients that are still very busy as well with us, and I know there's a lot of businesses that are completely shut down, and so we are very blessed in that area. But I know it has impacted us in ways. So working with small businesses and seeing the clients, like how have you felt this impact the companies that you work with?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. First, I do have to say the leadership team has done a great job of keeping us in touch with the vision. And so I just have to give a shout out to our leadership team and how great they are at that. And I think that really trickles down. It starts there, and us being tied into the vision allows us to keep our clients tied in, to keep our teams tied in. And for us, there has been some pivoting. Some businesses, they've made changes, and we've adjusted, and we've been able to step in and even help. We've added additional scripts. We're sending some different, emails for clients. And I think that is really what has helped our team stay in touch, is that we know that what we offer, we can help. It's not, just a service, but it's truly helping these businesses. And so I always try to relate back to that and keep our team tied into where we're going as a company.
Yeah, that's great. So how do you, in the service and support, and then you can talk generally, because I know you know about generally what we do too, how do you praise and recognize work that other people do?
Yeah, great question. I love celebrations. I think celebrating, wins, whether they're large or small, is so important all the time. But I think it's especially important in trying times like these, because it's so easy when the world is crazy to look at all the things going wrong. It's easy to be like, oh my goodness, there's so many bad things happening. Oh, businesses are closing. But I think that when we can celebrate the wins, it allows us to refocus and know that there's still so many good things that can come out of trials, that can come out of these struggles. And so for me and my team, like, we have a Slack channel where we will post, shout outs where it may be that someone took a great call. We take phone calls as part of one of our services. And, sometimes it's even like, I might even share that recording. I'm like, man, this was a great call, and I want to shout out, the person that did it and was providing great service for that client. And then sometimes it might be one-on-one. I think it's important to find a balance of both, of, shouting out publicly, but also making that connection known, like, you've done a great job and I'm really impressed with your work. Like, those words of affirmation go such a long way. And so that's kind of my vision and service and support for it. And I try to tie that into the company as a whole as well. I think that we overall, do such a great job. We have an amazing employee experience team that does such a great job of helping kind of coordinate that. But it's not just them. We all take ownership of celebrating, and they do such a great job of facilitating that.
Yeah, I agree. You made me think of something that I was pulling up our Slack channels, because we had not really a competition, but everybody was supposed to post like 3 to 5 things that they're grateful for.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to see. Let's see, it's under healthy living. We have these different water cooler channels, and one of the ones is healthy living, and it was around the concept of just 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for, and then they could tag some people to get other people engaged. I don't always have time to follow all this stuff, all these channels really closely, but it was just amazing to me. This one really hit me because it was amazing, one, how many of the team got on there and posted things that we're grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
And then just the things that were listed were amazing. And obviously a lot of family and springtime and a lot about nature and family, and just the amount of love that we felt like for our family, like the Centr family, our work family that we have, and just it just shows how when you have the right culture and you have the right people in your company, it you can weather through hard times easier. And it's crazy, things that would typically in a more toxic environment would shake up employees. Like we've actually seen it bond our team closer. And I'm like, I'm gonna have to do this stuff more often. No, not really. I'd prefer not to. But every once in a while, there's just things that it's just you get kind of taken back and you're like, wow, it's amazing that people realize like we're all in this together and we're all going to get through this. And so it's an honor to be a part of a team that trusts and believes in me and the leadership team so much. And that's a good sign that we're going places. So I'm really, really excited about that. And so I think those were kind of the main notes I had jotted down about things I wanted to discuss. Jordan, do you have anything to kind of wrap up?
Yeah, I think really the main other point that I wanted to kind of drive home a little bit is, and you kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but I figure it's worth mentioning.
Oh yeah,
just allowing your team to have those feelings and have those reactions. Those mistakes, they're all going to happen sometimes. I think, especially we are human, and we right now, I'm sure all of us can, we're feeling the elevated stress and the elevated, just kind of atmosphere of the world right now is just kind of stressed. And so I think just allowing room for that while not allowing it to seep into your culture is very important. I think it's not that we want to be negative or that we want that to be our foundation, but it's that we can allow ourselves to feel those feelings, but then we can lift each other up and build people up, which is one of our company's core values, and really, get out of the negative mindset, refocus. And so I think that's where it's just important to strike that balance. And it's not always easy to achieve, but I think leaving room to support each other and just experience, what's happening in the world is super important. And it's honestly, that's where you're going to increase your productivity in the long run. I think, not instilling this fear of failure in your team, but instead allowing room for growth is really something that's going to help any business or any team anywhere.
Yeah, because you realize it's kind of playing tug of war a little bit with your soul a little bit. And sometimes you might react wrong, and sometimes it might be like beautiful, like, it's like you did amazing because of that challenge. And sometimes it can go either way. And it doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It's just that they're still trying to test out what growth internally they're supposed to have. And I have a perfect example actually that happened this morning. I jumped on a call with leadership for something, and Jeanette was on there and Cameron, and it was really cool to so Jeanette, who is our COO, she's always pretty even keeled. I mean, her, Jordan, and she's the type, a hurricane, a tornado. It's just like, let's just figure out how to deal with it, and just really even keeled. And then, but she had spunk today, like she was on fire because she was so mad that the SBA money had run out for business owners, and she was like, this is going to hurt business owners so much. And she's like, we have to figure out a way to how to help people. And she was just so adamant about wanting to serve business owners and serve them at a higher level and figure out how to get them through this time. And it was just so cool to see that fire in her. And it was warranted. It was a time when, those things, these things make us sometimes light fires that we wouldn't have been able to really have lit before. And so I know us as leadership, we're like, we're so ready. Like we're ready to really help businesses in any way we can. And so that, I love that. I think that's really great. So
yeah. And I love that you mentioned that, because that's even something else that I've been looking for in my team, is I think these times can really show what people's passions are and where their strengths are. Because I think, we all have a response to the stress, a response to the, whatever it is. And so I honestly have loved seeing that, because I've seen growth. I've seen people step up. I've seen people take chances. And so it's allowing me to see, okay, what projects can I give? What projects are a good fit for this person? Where can I shuffle, assignments around or tasks around? And it's like, this is really the sweet spot for this person. And even though I would never say that, trials are necessarily good, I truly believe that so many good things can come out of them. And so that's one thing that I've loved getting to see is like, where are those fires? Who's passionate about what? And so that's been really exciting.
Awesome. Well, isn't Jordan amazing? Like, I think you guys could just see why he is. We just love having him on our team. And I mean, literally within a week, we're like, who is this guy? Like, this is amazing. And so we've just been really, really impressed with you, Jordan. And we appreciate you on the team. And you're such a big asset for the growth of the center and serving businesses at a higher level than we could ever imagine. So.
Well, thank you so much. I'm honored to be at the center, and thank you so much for having me on your live today as well. It's super, super an honor to be here.
No, great. It was great having you. So thanks, everybody. And if you're watching the recording, I'm glad you came. So thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.